All right, so back in En-ROADS SS2, we had the command here under evaluation, cross-section, surface to cross-section, and cross-section to surface, where we could draw graphics in our cross-section views out here, and then take those graphics and push them to a DTM. It just created, regular MicroStation graphics out there and created a DTM out of it. Geopack had a similar tool with the cross-section report DTM input command where they could do the same functionality. So we want to show how to do that here in uh, OpenRoads ss4. The tools are in Geopack or En-ROADS or MX. What we have here is we have a existing ground terrain, and we can see that terrain out here in a profile view. And we have cross-section lines. We have this geom center line that's in our model already. I've got that as a complex element out there. And we have our cross-section lines drawn out here. Right now, these are just MicroStation graphics. And that's where the existing ground was surveyed along. That's where I want to do my design along. So what I'm going to do is, since these are MicroStation graphics, they're already here in 2D, I can click on any one of them, choose to open a profile model, and it'll cut through the terrain at that location. Once I have a profile view along that horizontal, I can come into my vertical geometry tools and I can place a vertical alignment. I can snap to the existing ground terrain at the beginning and end. And as soon as I go and set this new profile active, it will pop up there and draw it out in the 3D model for me at the horizontal location at that profile elevations there. So that's going to be our process there. We're going to generate these 3D lines along all these sections, and then we're going to go and import those into a new terrain model. And some we see right now we have manipulators on that profile that we drew, so we can it allows us to make changes and to kind of preserve our design intent there. So I want to show you how that works some more. Then we're going to cut a profile in this next section. And this time when we go to draw, we're going to we're going to snap again to the existing ground terrain. It remembers the snap after we've done it. And we're going to draw multiple segments along this one. I have AccuDraw turned on. That's why we're seeing um, with AccuDraw turned on, we see this heads up display on AccuDraw. So what I can do is click on it. I can specify a specific elevation. I'm going to type in 215, and you'll see now it's locked in at 215. Anywhere I draw this line, it's going to pop in at that elevation. It's going to remember that that elevation was keyed in for that segment, so I can come back and change it later if I need to. On this one, I can enter in a length if I need to. I can tab down to the length field, and we'll type in 50 feet there. And so it's going to force me to draw in a 50 foot. And again, it's going to remember that design intent so I can come back and change it later. So once I have those three segments drawn in individually, I can come in and run this complex by element tool. And we will choose the automatic method. And we just have to pick the beginning of that line that we drew. And there it's created a complex element. And again, as soon as we set it active, we'll see that pop up in our 3D view. Okay, and we can zoom in here and see those were the inputs that we gave the command 50 foot, and it shows you what the slope is. It shows all the snaps that occurred to the other elements. So any changes that I need to make later to it, it'll remember how it was created. And as soon as I make a change there, it'll update the terrain. So let's go and do one more profile here so that we have an example of creating a terrain from 3 sections at least. So again, on this one, I'm just going to snap to the terrain. I'm going to choose the slope AccuDraw option down here. And so with that, I can come in here, tab down to the slope field. I can type in 2%, and it'll lock in my profile at a 2% slope. With that locked in, I can come over again and snap on the terrain over here on the right side, and it's given me, 2% slope across there. And again, maintains the manipulators for that, so I can change it at any time. And if I do change, the terrain will be updated. So once those are in there, once they're in the 3D model, I can come over here, I can click on the 3D model to set it active. And we will do that right there. And then I will make a selection set of those 3 graphics. So come over here to my element selection tool, hit the add button, select all three of those, and then we'll go to the terrain tools and we'll create a terrain by elements. Command, it sees they're already selected. I'll go through the prompts, create them as break lines, and we see the terrain is created out here in our 3D model. And then just to show that it sees it now as a good 3D model, I'm going to come and cut some dynamic sections in that area. And as soon as I open my cross-section view down here, again in this little view down here, I can see the terrain that it created is showing in my cross-section view, um, and that was the terrain created by just those three elements there.